You're still watching Morning at NTV with me, Sandra Twino Video. If you're just joining us, welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. Well, as we speak, November is being celebrated or will be celebrated as the National Diabetes Awareness Month. You can imagine there is a bit of awareness campaigns that we believe will be coming forward, and of course fundraising events that go on throughout the month. This effort has taken on more international importance in recent years, as we have seen before, with the growth of global observances of World Diabetes Day that takes place every year on November the 14th, the date marking the birthday of insulin co-discoverer Dr. Frederick Banting. So we want to turn and speak to I believe a person that we see every single morning, you know, and she's a fitness expert at Amba. Luckily, we're always seeing you every single morning telling us to do this, to do the other, but I'm glad to meet you in person here on Morning at NTV.
I'm glad to be here too.
Well, diabetes is a complex term. We've grown up hearing people say, oh, my mother has diabetes, or my father has diabetes.
Yeah.
But what exactly is diabetes?
Okay, so to break it down in the simplest terms, diabetes is when your blood glucose or blood sugar levels go higher than normal, due to the fact that you're resistant to insulin. So let's break that down. Insulin is think about it like a pump. Insulin takes the blood glucose into your muscles so they can be used for energy, so that you can walk around, you can breathe. You know, you're seated right now using up your energy. So when the body can no longer be sensitive to that insulin, so insulin is not taking any more glucose from your blood to your muscles, the glucose rises up in your blood levels, and then that's what diabetes is really. But people really know it as sugar, but it's really just the fact that the pump that's supposed to take the sugar from your blood to your muscles essentially is broken. And that comes with years and years of poor nutrition and inactivity. Yes. That's really
Well,
what diabetes
also
is.
maybe just to help us understand it more, there's a notion or there's a belief that people that get diabetes, I'm just hoping I'm not the only one that has had this, only the older people. But over time, we've also seen younger people also get it.
Right, 35-year-olds?
Yes.
Yes, right. So again, it's years and years of really bad nutrition and inactivity. So it doesn't matter how old you are. As you eat these foods that are high in sugar, they're processed, over time, it just sort of, the body then becomes resistant. The insulin becomes resistant to that, you know, sugar levels, and then they keep rising, and then you have to work towards becoming more sensitive to insulin. And once again, is this making sense, the insulin talk?
I know.
Is it making sense?
It is trying to make sense. So I'm only picking mostly the fact that if you've had more years of poor nutrition, then you contribute to yourself getting diabetes.
Yes.
So
specifically the foods?
Yeah.
So some of the foods, like processed foods. So it's about table sugar, the foods that have sugar in them that are processed. So things like flour, refined flour, a lot of processed foods like biscuits, crisps, a lot of refined sugars, ice cream. So you keep, no, it's an indulgence that you can enjoy once in a while.
Yes.
But imagine you've been at it all the time. It's like your main source of, like, you know, nutrition.
Yes.
That's really where the problem comes in. Things like
You're
that.
speaking of foods, and I'm feeling attacked. So you have to be careful not to take a lot of ice cream. Is it?
Refined sugar. Any foods that have sugar that has been processed.
You talked of crisps as well.
Packed goods, yes. Packed goods, yeah.
Because I want us to understand mostly, someone could just listen ice cream, okay, ice cream, or so we want to understand the different kinds of foods that yes, we can eat them, but at what rate and how many times.
So things that are processed, like breakfast cereals, refined flour, so flour, baked goods. That sort of simplified, really fine flour, a lot of white bread, things like that pile up. So if you could eat them in moderation, rather than then being the main source of your nutrition, mix up the natural foods that come from the garden. So potatoes, Irish, you know, things like that. Cassava. If you mix those up, it's better than
so
you eating.
When you talk of packed foods, your oats porridge is also in that as well, is it?
Oats porridge, if it's purely oats, it's fine, it's okay, yeah. But packed foods, I meant things like breakfast cereals, like cornflakes.
Okay.
I don't want to say any brands really, but like, yeah, frosted flakes that have extra sugar. Then there's these donuts that come with, first of all, the donuts are made with flour, and then they add on the cream, then they add on that, that sugar on top, and then you're just eating that. Yeah, things like that.
It could contribute to you getting that.
And I want to specify that this is diabetes type 2, the adult onset. Type 1 that comes in, children.
Let's talk about the one that comes with children as well.
So that one, it's unfortunately, you're born with it. There's nothing you can do about it. It comes with the result of you having a lack of insulin, not enough insulin in your body, and there's nothing you can do about that except provide the insulin. That happens in children. It's not their fault. But type 2, it's a lifestyle issue. It's due to your eating and lack of activity that leads you to get that diabetes.
Type 2 diabetes is so we will be the people that will contribute to getting diabetes too. And what are some of those very first feelings or symptoms that you feel when you get diabetes too? Okay,
the constant thirst. So sometimes you get a lot of fatigue, sometimes you get muscle wastage, but really the first thing is a constant thirst. As the onset, the diabetes gets worse, the complications that come with it, like the poor eyesight, tingling in the extremities, the hands and legs, those come later, but the first one, the constant thirst, muscle wastage, those are the first things you see in a diabetic person.
So what do you do after you see that?
So ideally, honestly, you should be, by the time you're 35, you should know your blood glucose levels, whether you're healthy or not. So before you get to a point, exactly.
When you say we got blood sugar levels,
yeah,
I do not know how many of us have tested for that.
Literally 5 seconds, because we lack that health-seeking behavior as Ugandans. Unless you're in pain, you don't go to look for.
Unless it is dire.
Oh, there's that thing they always say, when you go looking for it, you'll find it. So I'll not go to check. But please, if you're like 35 by now, just go do a full test. Find your do a lipid profile test, a blood glucose test. Just know your levels before you get to a point where, I feel weird, I feel fatigued, I feel, just go and find out your blood sugar levels today, please.
All right.
It's a very simple procedure.
And then the extreme feelings of diabetes, how do they look like?
So the extreme ones, as you lose, you get muscle wastage. There's that tingling, because when you're diabetic and your sugar levels are really high, how do I explain this? The blood becomes viscous, thick. So the extremities don't really get a good supply of that. And then through that is when you get, since the extremities don't get enough blood, you lose feeling, you start getting numb and that tingly feeling. Sometimes there's gangrene that sets in because of the lack of blood and oxygen to your extremities, things like that. And often you find on diabetic clinics, people are losing feet, because
losing feet?
Yeah.
The feet?
Yeah, because when the part of your body is not getting enough oxygen and blood, it dies essentially. So things like that, those are really the extreme complications.
Well, we also know, what about these people that sort of, let's say you're just going about your day-to-day activities and you feel like you literally want to faint, or you can't stand for long. Is that also a sign of diabetes, or it could be a mixture of so many other things?
It could be a mixture of very many things, but that easy fatigability and that loss of sensation in your extremities really comes with that. That's the one to look out for, and that constant thirst.
All right. So let's dive into the theme of this month, which is, of course, a National Diabetes Awareness Month, as we mark the birthday of insulin co-discoverer. We know that with the emergence of COVID-19, the crisis, there's a legitimate question of how relevant this awareness push really is. Give us a sense of what the day means at a time like this, when we are all really looking at the COVID-19 as the biggest threat.
Yep. So remember, as long as you have an underlying issue in your body, you're prone to getting COVID.
Yes.
So as long as you have hypertension, diabetes, obesity, all that puts you at a risk of getting COVID. So they go hand in hand. You have to be physically healthy to fight off that disease. So if you have, it's still an important thing to be aware of, because either way, you can't get COVID as long as you have these underlying issues like diabetes. So it's very important that people know how to prevent it, because it's a lifestyle issue. It's something you can just prevent on your own through what you eat and how active you are daily. Yeah. So it's very important that people keep being aware of it.
Is it a very expensive illness to treat? Is it one of those that you find yourself going in and out of the hospital?
It is, because the insulin shots, buying insulin, always buying the glucometer to check your glucose at home.
Yes.
You can avoid all the drugs. You can avoid all that by just changing your lifestyle early enough, because it's consistent. You have to keep checking. And I've seen, I think everyone has a relative with diabetes.
Yeah.
Everyone has, and they keep saying I have to buy glucometer sticks to check my mom's sugar levels. I have to, we have to go to the clinic to check her blood pressure, keep up with, how she is, and all that. Just with even the money, just the time itself, it's so time consuming. So it's really important that you prevent it early enough.
Okay, so also since we have you here, let us take advantage of that. For those that are probably struggling with weight and they want to lose some bit of it, and they usually say that for you to lose some weight, you have to eat right.
Exactly.
How can a person do that?
Eat right? Okay, so
because someone could wake up and really eat fruits, lunchtime eat some, I don't know, very fresh food and very healthy food, and still, pulp up.
Exactly. So think about it in 3 ways. Eat natural foods. So avoid the processed foods. Then eat all the food groups. Don't miss out one. Don't say I'm going to eat fruits alone without the protein. So protein is like beans, groundnuts, fish, chicken. Don't cut out food groups. Third, eat what your body is able to use up. If you seated all day, then why are you eating a whole plate of like yams and potatoes and posho? Eat what your body can use up. Like it's like just eat what your body can then use up, and then that will always help you maintain your good, a good weight.
All right, and then for those that would like to add a bit of weight, there are those that are probably too skinny and they just want to add some flesh. How do they do that?
Exactly. So gaining weight is about your metabolism keeps using up the food. Your body uses up the food faster than you're giving it. So it's about eating more frequently and more portions. More calories, more portions, and more frequently. So more meals during the day.
So you just say eat every after an hour or every
2
after 2
hours
hours?
would be good. Like 6 meals a day.
6 meals a day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Atamba, luckily, for speaking to us on diabetes and nutrition as well. I hope you were able to get a clear idea of what diabetes is. Remember, there are 2 types, diabetes 1 and diabetes 2. 2 is basically brought about by our lifestyle, what you eat, and the things you do on a daily could contribute to you getting diabetes 2. So thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to learning more from you later. You're still watching Morning at NTV. We'll be back.